So, you see, everything in life is about the narrative. For example, there's a narrative of white people are evil. Maybe there's a narrative that black people are evil. That narrative is either true or it's false. Now, the narrative could either be a reaction to something, or it actually can be, and this is the most critical thing that you can ever know. It goes like this. Rabbi Menachem Mendel of Kotsk said, what's the difference between a lover of truth or a hater of falsehood? So they seem similar, but they're opposites. The lover of truth doesn't rest until he finds the truth, and the hater of falsehood doesn't rest until he finds falsehood. Now, I understand why somebody would want to find truth, because they're looking for truth. They feel that life isn't meaningful. But why would somebody want to find falsehood? And the answer is they're looking for falsehood because they're jealous. That's the key word. Why would somebody shame someone else? They're jealous. What are they jealous of? Their self-esteem. It's natural within humans to actually hate pretty much almost everybody else. However, that is to the extent that we are arrogant. Because when I am arrogant, what does arrogance mean? It doesn't really mean that I feel better than everybody else. It means I feel myself more than everybody else. You know, a healthy hand doesn't feel itself. I have a hand and it's healthy and I don't think about it. It just works. But when something is unhealthy, it begins to basically come into the consciousness. When I feel, usually because I've been criticized, I've been shamed because somebody was jealous of me, when I feel strongly self, then that is unhealthy. Now, the truth of the matter is you need to have some boundaries. You need to have some self, some other, etc., etc. And these are things that we go through all of our life, getting better. And usually to get better, you got to get a little worse. That's how you learn. You learn from mistakes. So nobody can judge anybody, whether they do have an ego, how much. You can't judge. But the fact is that the way the ego works is that the more I basically am covering up my shame, the more false, but to me, real pride I have, the more I feel myself. Again, it's not about necessarily feeling better than others. It's about feeling myself more than others. And so when I do that, basically what happens is I then have high levels of intolerance and in fact jealousy, because if I, in a way, in my own estimation, am the most important thing in the world, that's what my focus is. And again, it's subconscious, but that's what it is. So then I become jealous. Why do you have that nice car? That's not fair. Now, if I'm humble, you have a nice car, I think, well, maybe you're rich and I'm not a rich person, so big deal. But if I'm arrogant, I'm like, that's not fair. Why should you have it? So what happens then is that I begin to see false. That's the Jewish people, by any kind of rational measure, have always been the kindest people in the world. Even right now, the amount of charity that they give and the good that they do is extraordinary. It's disproportionate to their numbers. I mean, the amount of Nobel Prize winners, all these amazing contributions. So why is there so much hatred? Because you have many people that unfortunately are jealous. And when you have somebody that's jealous, that creates a basically a hatred. And hatred, actually, the Hebrew word for ahava, for love, it has an hav, to give, but the Hebrew word for sina, to hate, has it no, which is to annihilate. That's what it causes, and it causes rationalizations, and we've seen this throughout history. Many people have tried to annihilate, God forbid, the Jews, but not only the Jews, other people as well. So this is a very serious, very, very, very serious situation. So if your narrative is wrong, you obviously think your narrative is right. But if your narrative is wrong, like the Germans, they weren't stupid people, they were smart people. They went to universities, they were doctors, and their narrative was that the Jews are evil, they want to take over the world. Where did they get that from? They got it from one madman. What was up with him? Well, he was filled with hate. And he really believed it. Why? Because he wanted to believe it. And so the very first thing that you need to ask yourself is this narrative, and listen carefully because this is the easiest way that you can figure out truth from not, is this narrative productive? And if not destructive, because if it's destructive, don't give yourself excuses. If it's destructive, it's evil. Is it productive? For example, men and women, right? This whole crazy gender studies and all that crap. Is it productive? No, because if people don't get married and don't have children, first of all, apart from the fact we know from studies that marriage makes people happy and children, all this is a blessing, but you'll die out. I mean, as an individual, is gay being productive? No, you're going to die out. Is lesbian productive? No, you're going to die out. Is it productive? No, it's just not productive. So, same thing, anti-capitalism. Is it productive? No, because money can be used for good things. I'm not here to judge someone what they want to do with their time. So somebody that is judging someone that's destructive, that's like communism. Communism was not a productive thing. It was some kind of utopiistic idea, but really it was based on jealousy. Karl Marx never worked a day in his life. He was just an arrogant jerk that was jealous of people that were wealthy. That he was a typical arrogant problem. And what did he do? He didn't create wealth for the poor. He made everybody poor. He made people 1,000 times worse off, right? Killed millions because of that idiot. 100 million people were murdered, amongst them 3 of my great-grandparents. So that's called destructive, not constructive. Was he being productive, adding more to the world, or was he destroying? So whenever what we're doing is productive, we're making the world a better place, or even making the world itself, we can rest assured that what we're doing is good versus evil.